Welcome to the Modern Manager. I am Mamie Canfor-Stewart, and every week I share tips and strategies to help you be a rockstar manager with a thriving team. Today, we are talking about the types of meetings that managers use to keep their teams on track and connected and doing great work. Now, we have all been in meetings that feel like a waste of time. But when done well, meetings can actually be a way to bring your team together, to do good work, to build culture, to make decisions. There's a lot of good that can come out of meetings. The key is to know what kind of meetings your team needs so that you can make sure that you are doing those meetings consistently with helpful agendas that move work forward while making people feel truly engaged. So today I am sharing the 10 types of meetings that every team should consider having in their toolbox. The first type of meeting is an alignment meeting. And there are two types of alignment meetings. The first is aligning around tasks, project plans, timelines, deadlines, etc., to make sure that everyone is on the same page with where the work stands. The second is alignment around information. This is making sure that everybody understands the situation, that we are all clear, and we all have the same shared knowledge about a situation or a set of information. Both types of alignment meetings are incredibly important. And as a team, you might have an alignment meeting that is a standing weekly meeting where you are looking at work and where work stands. And you may have occasional alignment meetings that pop up when a new policy is being rolled out in your organization, or there's an issue with a customer and you're just trying to make sense of where you're at and get aligned. The second type of meeting is a one-on-one, and every manager should be having a one-on-one meeting with their team members. Could be once a month, could be once every other month, at the very least once a quarter. What makes a one-on-one different from an alignment meeting where you are checking in on where the work is standing? A one-on-one is really about the employee. You are centering them, their development, their success, their growth, their future career, their relationship with you. It is really very much about how are you supporting this person and how are you supporting them to be successful in this role. The third type of meeting that teams should consider having is an after-action review. This is a very structured meeting, which is great because you can keep the same structure every single time. And you run these meetings at the end of a project or after you've hit or missed a goal. Going through an after-action review gives you the opportunity to reflect on what was supposed to happen, what actually happened, why there was a difference, what you learned, and what you are going to do next now that you have this information. The after-action review is a great type of meeting that helps you get the most out of the work you've already done so that you can collaborate and make better decisions going forward. The fourth type of meeting that teams should consider is the brainstorm session or a brainstorm meeting. When you're holding a brainstorm meeting, this is your opportunity to generate ideas, to brainstorm solutions, to even brainstorm questions. The beautiful thing about brainstorm meetings is that unlike brainstorming independently, which is also a really important step in the process, when you come together, you actually get that energy to build off of each other's ideas. So you want to take advantage of brainstorming in meetings when you get the chance to not only brainstorm yourself, but read other people's ideas, have a conversation, and then do another round of brainstorming. So you really get to leverage being together. The next type of meeting is a strategy meeting. Strategy meetings are all about figuring out what strategies, what are the next steps, what are our plans for going forward. These meetings can be at a high macro level, so thinking about the entire organization, or on a much smaller level, thinking about how we're going to manage this project or what this project is really trying to accomplish and why and how the work is going to get done. Strategy sessions can have a consistent agenda to help you make sure that you're tackling all of the right questions of strategic importance and you're covering all of the bases so that your conversations are really getting you to the best strategic thinking. Building off of a strategic meeting, you want to have a planning meeting. Planning meetings, unlike strategy, which are at the higher level of thinking, planning meetings get down into the details. Here is where you are outlining exact next steps. You are clarifying who is doing what by when, and you are getting into the practical approaches that are going to be used to get the work done. Next up, we have problem solving or issue resolution meetings. These are meetings where there's clearly a problem and we need to come to some decision about what we're going to do about it. So in these meetings, again, it's super helpful to have a standard agenda that you're using as your baseline that will walk you through and make sure that you're covering all the important questions, starting with things like, what is the situation? Let's make sure that we all actually understand what we're talking about, what the real problem is here and who's being impacted and in what ways. Then we'll have our brainstorm part of the meeting. Then we'll have our discussion, and then we'll have a decision, and then we'll have our planning for next steps. So all of those pieces, those phases of the meeting, when you have a standing template for issue resolution or problem solving, then you can make sure that those meetings run really smoothly. The 8th type of meeting is the decision-making meeting. And similar to some of the other meetings, having a standard practice around decision-making meetings is really helpful to ensure that you are having the right conversations, the right flow of that conversation, and that you are coming to conclusion at the end. So a decision-making meeting might have a standing agenda that looks something like this. It starts by having time to just clarify what the decision is to make sure that everybody understands the decision that we're making and the impact that that decision will have on the team, the client, the organization, whoever it might be. Then we explore our available options. We use different facilitation tools maybe. We can use different types of modalities to make sure that we are exploring those options. Then we get to the place where we are now making the decision. And we've already decided how the decision is going to be made. Are we voting? Is it consultative to one decision maker? Is it consensus? But we want to make sure that we have clarified how the decision is being made so that when we get to that part in the meeting and we are now making the decision, there's no question of who the decision makers are. The 9th type of meeting is the sense-making meeting. And here you are taking information or a situation and you're really trying to figure out what is going on. You're really trying to make sense of this information. This could be something like a budget review where you're looking at your budget year to date versus your actual year to date and trying to figure out what is going on in our organization. What is the story or what is the situation with our finances? Or it could be maybe you got some research in and you want to look through the research now and have a discussion about what does this research mean for us? What is it telling us? Or maybe you did focus groups and you're now bringing together that information from the different focus groups to make sense of it and figure out what are we going to do with this? What you're really looking for in a sense-making meeting is insights or patterns or lessons. Lastly, we have relationship building meetings. While of course we are building relationships in all of our other kinds of meetings, and we should be building relationships in those meetings, both through the way that we engage with our colleagues, but also through smaller techniques like starting with a check-in or ending with a wrap-up. We also can have meetings that are specifically focused on building relationships. This can range from going out to coffee with a colleague and just chatting to a more formalized lunch and learn, where you're bringing people together to learn something new, either from an outside expert or by rotating the team member who is doing the teaching and doing the sharing. Relationship building meetings are really important and we should not forget about them, even though they can feel a bit like a quote waste of time because we're not doing work. We actually are doing work. We're doing the work of building relationships and connections and seeing each other as authentic humans. Each of these 10 different meeting types has a specific purpose and a unique need that it is filling within our teams. And it is so important that we consider how all of these meetings can be part of our meeting portfolio. Each of them, in their own ways, will help us keep our team aligned, moving forward with work, and having strong relationships and connections. I always recommend to my clients that once a quarter or twice a year, they take a little bit of time to reflect back on the kinds of meetings they've been having, to look through their calendar and see, have we been having problem-solving meetings and were we using a good agenda for flow for that to make sure that those meetings were really productive? And have we been having after-action reviews, or is that something we should consider adding? Sometimes your calendar tells a great story, and sometimes you realize that we've been missing out on opportunities for a particular kind of meeting, or we've been holding team meetings every single week, but they're super inconsistent in the way that we are running them. And maybe they'd benefit from having a more standard structure. The more consistent we can be with each type of meeting, the easier it will be to plan them, to lead them, to engage in them. And so whenever we have an opportunity to standardize an agenda, at the very least as a starting point, because we can always customize and adjust based on the situation, the easier it will be for us to plan them, and the easier it will be for our team members to be prepared for them and to, of course, engage in them, which is ultimately what we want, because we know that when meetings are done well, they can be a source of productivity, of momentum, of relationship building, and of inspiration for our team members. For more tips on managing meetings, as well as how to be a rockstar manager with a thriving team, go to my website, themodernmanager.com. And if you found this video helpful, before you leave, please hit that subscribe button and check out my latest video.